Hola. Yep.
So this kitchen is our RV kitchen. It's actually slightly nicer than our apartment in LA's kitchen.
It's true. Quite true. I am going to make a quick salsa because people like to say salsa. I like onion in my salsa, but I also don't like salsa to be too oniony. So I dice it up really small, and I'm gonna pickle it quickly in a little bit of lime juice and some vinegar. Mellows it out and it gives it a nice bite.
Hey, there was juice in that lime.
It's difficult to get it out. And I feel like it's holding out on me. I'm gonna break it. Yeah, see? I want it all. I think it needs a little bit of sweet. And I'm gonna use some honey. This honey has crystallized, but that doesn't mean it's gone bad. All right, I'll let that sit for a second. We're making nachos for dinner. We've got the good chips for $1.49.
Ripped it.
Oh no! I like to, when I'm making nachos, I get really meticulous because I like all of my chips to have something on it. So, I mean, I could get really fancy and lay them out, you know, exactly because they're triangles. Oh no! Party foul. Start filling in some gaps. There will be some overlap because we want a raft. A raft of chips that won't sink. Okay, that looks pretty good. There we go. You want to come join the party?
We got carne asada from the local Mexican place. Worth it.
Quick tip for homemade salsa, especially when tomatoes are not in season, like in winter. Canned fire roasted tomatoes and you've got yourself a pretty authentic tasting restaurant salsa. I mix these with my onions and my lime, a bunch of fresh cilantro, and then I have a green bell pepper in the fridge that needs using up, and I just chop that up and bingo presto.
Bingo bango.
Bingo bango!
I'm gonna chop all this. Comes in kind of big chunks.
Yum. I should have put my immersion blender in this can and blended these tomatoes up. Made them slightly smaller in chunk size. I've got some chipotle and adobo sauce. I'm gonna add that. Gives it a nice little smoky flavor. Kitchen shears for the win.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to cut this, and probably a knife and a cutting board would have been fine, but I didn't feel like getting another one dirty. Why? I don't know. I just didn't feel like it. So this is our tiny little kitchen that we're cooking in our 34-foot RV, and we find it kind of interesting cooking in something like this that's mobile because we've car camped for so long, and having like a kitchen with a sink and an oven is so weird. So it's like we weren't sure what we were going to be able to cook. So this kind of stuff is actually kind of amazing that we can cook it here while we're camping near a city, but also up in the mountains when we're in the middle of nowhere. And on top of that, or along with that, our oven, because it's so tiny, we had to get new cookie sheets. But you can find them at Walmart, like the tiny ones, right? That's where we got them.
Tiny Town. Actually, this
is like a normal size
sheet is an old one. It was from a wedding present, and it was like the half sheet or quarter sheet size. And then I got a brownie pan from like TJ Maxx.
Is that okay that I used all this?
Yeah, of course. Get it, baby. Also, the Walmart ones, you can get them at Walmart, but be careful about, sometimes they come with these like wing handles that stick out even farther. And the one that we got, we had to return because...
Oh yeah, it was just a little too big.
It was too big because of the wings.
But you can find them. And they fit inside this tiny oven, and in our oven, at the bottom of it, the burner is down under here, which we're also using for storage. So this shouldn't be there.
No space wasted.
But, so the burner's down here. This is normally just a piece of sheet metal, but we put a pizza stone over the top of the burner, and it's helped not scorch anything so far. Like I don't think we've scorched anything so far. So, pizza stone. Take measurements of your oven, and you can find a pizza stone in almost any size. And they're not expensive. So.
However, this one that we have was donated by a friend
who had a bunch of pizza stones.
And she was like, I have one that would perfectly fit that oven. So thank you, Kim. Ooh, these ones actually have dirt on them. So, another quick tip for making nachos. Ryan and I used to just throw all the ingredients on the chips and slam them in the oven. But because we're trying to save propane, like we're trying to go spare on that, and that's what our oven uses. And because sometimes veggies, because we pile on a lot of veggies, they give off moisture when you cook them. And then you end up with soggy nachos, which is not what you're going for.
Soggy nachos.
I hate soggy nachos! So, I started just quickly cooking them up in a pan before we put them on. So they're already mostly cooked through and we don't end up with soggy nachos. So that's what I'm about to do.
And we have a handy dandy induction cooktop. We can use solar or RV power like we're currently plugged in. So it doesn't use up any propane.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Ryan put a lot of effort and research into our solar. And I'm glad he did. Ah! I need to sharpen my knives. These are the worst. I'm going to injure myself. I'm not so much cutting these peppers as I am smashing them into submission. I feel like a professional chef would be going, why are you cutting your peppers in so many different shapes? It's because I like whimsy. So we'll cook these up in a pan in just a second, and I'm going to get back to this salsa. This immersion blender has a safety feature where you have to push the lock button in and this before the blade twists. And that's a good feature for me because I actually blended my finger in one of these once. It was really stupid, and I was astonished that I had done it because it was the first time in using the blender, like what, 100 times? I always unplug it, pull this away from the motor before I clear out the blade, and for some reason I didn't unplug it, I didn't detach it from the motor, and I just stuck my finger in the blade, and then my finger spasmed, and it was horrifying. Ryan was a champ. He's gonna get some of the chunks out. There. Ta-da! Caught it. Work! Work, you! In a tiny kitchen, put everything away as soon as you're done with it. Alright. I also need to use up this tomato. When my family had a garden, I used to make salsa multiple times during the summer and chop hundreds of tomatoes.
Now the garden is burned
to a crisp. Just to use this up. Now I don't feel guilty if I won't be throwing this away. I hate throwing away food. I don't like it. So I always try to find ways to use. That is bizarre. Chuck those in there. There, now we've got a little fresh tomato, we got canned tomato. It's all looking good. It's just missing cilantro. I know that cilantro is a very polarizing herb. You either love it or you think it tastes like soap. I do not think it tastes like soap, and I want it in all my Mexican food. All of it. This is another great little tool. We got this as a wedding present, and I was just like, what are we gonna use this for? Turns out, 10 years later, we use it a lot. Does anybody out there compost like their kitchen scraps? Does anybody out there do any like tiny house composting or RV composting? Because I grew up with like a garden. I grew up on an acre of land, and my family had a garden that we tended every summer. I have a really hard time throwing away vegetable scraps. And I know a lot of people say like, save all your scraps in the freezer for making vegetable stock. I don't really want to make a vegetable stock out of a bunch of these, and our freezer is really small, so the space is valuable. But talk to me if anybody out there has any thoughts about what do you do with your vegetable scraps, because I just feel weird throwing them away. I mean, they're not edible-ish. Again, the stem of a bell pepper, but I feel like something should be done with them other than throwing them away. Maybe? I don't know. Seems good. Starting to get a char on them.
Should I get the oven going?
Yes.
Burner, pizza stone. Beans, meat, and cheese.
Yum. We got some heirloom pinquito beans. They're like miniature pinto beans. Got a good char on our veggies. I'm gonna finish the salsa. Those need to be chopped up. Ryan and I eat a lot of riffs on Mexican food, Tex-Mex. It's just a lot of beans and lime and cilantro, peppers, some sort of protein. Sometime we'll have to show you the salad that we eat pretty much on a, would you say daily basis? Got a big handful of cilantro in there. All right, so what did I put in here? Purple onion, lime, white vinegar, honey, salt, 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes, bell pepper, cilantro, a little bit of chipotle and adobo sauce paste. We almost always have shredded cabbage, my mandolin, handfuls of cabbage, creamy lime dressing that I make myself. It's equal parts lime juice and like a ranch dressing sort of base that changes constantly. Here we go. Gooey, cheesy catastrophe. How's that?
Yep.
Good? All right. Time to eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.